because I am dating Jake Paul. I know it's crazy.
Yeah, life's been good. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. My dream has always been on the Tonight Show with Jake.
Okay, guys. I know this is my second video of the night, but I think a vampire is stalking me. And I'm not even being a little bit funny about it.
This is EJ.
Oh, wow.
Actually,
Real place.
yeah.
Wow. There's like pharaohs and stuff over there?
Hungry.
But then I wonder, like, okay, dogs can't talk. So do they have brains? Like, yes, they walk, but it's because we're telling them to walk. And we haven't really had a hot president since, like, Kennedy, but we all know how that ended. Do you want the first bite, babe? You want this or no? Oh, you don't have the first bite.
Trisha Paytas. Seems like she can't go a month without ending up in some sort of controversy or drama. The conversations surrounding this girl are always so hyperbolic and dramatic. I'm not here to destroy Trisha Paytas or expose her. I just want to try and see if we can take a deeper look and gain a better understanding of this tornado of drama. The first question people always seem to want to know when they are first introduced to Trisha is, where did she come from? Why is she so popular? And to understand this, we have to go back to her humble beginnings. Oh boy. Trisha Paytas grew up in a rocky household where her mother was constantly going through different boyfriends. Trisha lived with her dad and went to high school in California, where she was routinely bullied for her weight, her looks, and her clothes. The California Valley girls considered her too ugly and introverted, and she had few friends. For this reason, she decided to go and live with her mother in Illinois, but the bullying at school didn't stop. At her new school, she was considered too girly, and she was ridiculed for her makeup, for carrying a purse instead of a backpack, and so forth. Again, she was left completely isolated and friendless. She bounced back and forth between each of her parents' places until deciding to drop out and pursue a career in acting. How many times have you heard that one? Her sweet, bubbly, dumb blonde personality served her relatively well. This, after all, was the early 2000s. Paris Hilton and Anna Nicole Smith ruled the airwaves. Trisha was cast in a lot of sexy girl set dressing type roles, such as at the 2008 Scream Awards. She played plastic surgery girl in Modern Family, a Hooters waitress in 1,000 Ways to Die. She went on reality shows like My Strange Addiction, talk shows like Tyra Banks, Agreeing to be Made Over. She wanted to make a name for herself, and in a sense, it was working. She was getting regular work. She was noticed by a guy called Greg Berhardt, and was made a regular guest on his show, but it just wasn't enough to pay the bills. She had been working for her dad's company as a computer programmer, but after she suffered a drug overdose, he cut her off. It was then that she met a man named Christopher Dennis, who was one of those costumed characters on Hollywood Boulevard. He played Superman and collected tips from tourists who took a picture with him and offered Trisha to play Supergirl alongside him. It was through this work that she discovered a little website known as MySpace. For anyone that doesn't know what MySpace was, it was an early social networking site. Trisha was known as Grindhouse Barbie because of her obsession at the time with Quentin Tarantino. She became popular on MySpace and ended up befriending a guy named Brian who ran the official Alice Cooper MySpace page. The two were in constant contact, and Brian even helped her meet her hero. Not Alice Cooper, it was Quentin Tarantino, just in case that was like unclear. She actually didn't even really know who Alice Cooper was. She just wanted to follow famous people, you know. Typical Trisha! When Trisha needed money, Brian suggested she become a stripper, and so Trish started working at a seedy club called Godfathers. Her drug problem returned as she began self-medicating to get through the work. Through this, she was introduced to an escort service she started working for, where she had several dangerous encounters, such as being shot at, being locked in a basement, and a particularly scary encounter with a friend of the Megan Wants a Millionaire killer.
I said I couldn't, I was hanging out with them and I said I had to leave early because we were over in Hollywood. I said I'm going to go work at the Boulevard with Superman because you can stand out there and collect tips from tourists. And he's like, why would you do that? I said, I need to make money. He's like, I'm going to pay you. I said, yeah, but I need to make more money, excuse me. And he said, I don't have any more money to give you. I said, that's fine. I said, I just want to go on the Boulevard and work. So he followed me and saw me have lunch with my friend Chris. Back up a couple weeks prior, he had told me that he was like a gun collector and had a bunch of guns in his basement. And he took me down to the basement and showed me the guns and locked me in, even though he said he didn't. He went upstairs, like, I'll be right back. He went upstairs, I heard it lock and latch, and I was locked in the basement.
I had a guy that just liked to like shoot at your head, but he was like fucked up, and so like
What? He liked to shoot at your head.
it was like you got off like almost killing you. But he's like, I'm such a good shot, like I'm not going to, and he would like shoot around your head.
So tell me about the situation.
Where
you were
was-
standing.
Like in the house?
In the house, yeah.
And
it was
you
up in
would actually
Malibu.
shoot it?
Yeah.
The gun?
Yeah,
And
but
what-
I was, oh my god, I was only 22. I was like, fuck.
I had a guy with literally one leg. His girlfriend was the girl that actually was murdered by that guy from Megan Wants a Millionaire. His name was Ryan, and he ended up murdering this girlfriend, and I guess he was dating her at the time too, and had said something like he knew where her body was, like something so crazy, like about where he knows where dead bodies are or where to bury them, and it was so freaky. And he's like, I just hate whores like that. She looked just like you. She had far apart eyes, she had blonde hair, she had the big boobs, and I honestly thought he was gonna kill me. He went to the back of the room, and again, he had one leg, but he was able to like work with it, right? And because I had gone to just straight to his house, which again, I don't recommend. Meet someone in public first. I went straight to his house, and I heard him clicking something back there, and I bolted. I ran so far down the hill and just bolted.
At her lowest point, she was selling herself for only $5. Her low self-esteem seems to have only been inflated by these encounters, only made worse by the next thing that happened in 18-year-old Trisha's life. Her friend Brian took his own life. This event has clearly followed her throughout her life. In her video telling this story, she places a lot of the blame on herself and continues to believe Brian's ghost haunts her and makes her life difficult. Brian may have been the person that introduced Trisha to a rather dangerous line of work, but he also inadvertently helped her get out of it by buying Trisha a digital camera. Because of her decent following on the platform, Trish began posting short videos to her MySpace page, but because MySpace could not host their own videos, she needed to embed them. After a quick Google search, she discovered an obscure little website known as YouTube.
I was like 10 when that movie came out, so I didn't know Andy Kaufman, but after that movie, I became like really obsessed with like learning more about him. So we didn't have YouTube back then, but I remember I would watch like tapes of like, you know, Taxi and stuff like that. And I would just see his interviews. Like my dad had interviews of like that he had on VHS of him like on the Letterman show, just like, you know, with the neck brace and going crazy and like fighting women. And I just, from an early age, I just knew like his like, it was like an attention seeking thing. People were giving him attention for being like outrageous. And so I was just like, wow.
Growing up, Trisha had always been a big fan of Andy Kaufman, which inspired her to make a little video known as Making Out with a Tree. No, that's not it. It was Sex with Jim Carrey plus I peed the bed. No. It was Obama versus the Catholic Church. That's actually the one. And this video got her a lot of views. Pretending to be a moron and saying absurd stuff got Trisha a lot of attention, and she loves attention. So she decided to do it again and made Why I'm Voting for Mitt Romney.
A lot of you may not watch the debates. I mean, I don't really. I mean, I have Twitter, so I can sort of watch the debates, and I get it. There was something about Big Bird being said, and Romney won, and yay, I don't know. Okay, so then another reason I'm gonna vote for Mitt, well, my kitten is named Mitts. So I think it's actually Mittens, but we call him Mitts for, you know, short. So yay, that's like a sign, I think, right? And Mitt rhymes with tit. No, I'm just kidding. But I have two of those. Like, I think it was like Ronald Reagan or like, I don't know, maybe Al Gore. Somebody did the vote or die slogan, and basically like that's a little like, I mean, I think that was kind of liberal, but you should vote because this is our life that we're voting for.
This video was even bigger. Suddenly, everybody was talking about Trisha Paytas, and she loved it.
Like I was on Larry King, like I was on all this stuff because I was talking about why I'm voting for Mitt Romney, and I was just being like a complete idiot about it. And all of a sudden, I was getting all this attention. I was making so much money. I like that during the elections, during the Mitt Romney elections, I think I made like, at the time it was a lot for me. It was like $8,000 a month, which I was like, well, I've never made that before.
So what were they having you do? Just show up places?
Yeah, I was doing like interviews after the debates.
God.
And I would just say stupid shit, and people would be like the Young Turks have tons of segments on me, and I started making videos to continuously troll them because the two people from the Young Turks were so like against me. They like hated me.
Yeah,
and I
they're
was
liberal.
Like, yeah, but the thing was, is like I didn't even know what I was saying. I didn't give a what I was saying. I was like, this is so. It was clearly a character. Like I was clearly being dumb. I was like, I'm voting for Mitt because it rhymes with tits, and I have 2 of those. Like, and they were like actually upset.
Even though what she was saying was so ridiculous, she sold it. She was this bleach blonde with a high voice in this stripper's bedroom. She was just the perfect person to sell you the idea that somebody could believe dogs don't have brains or that eating a salad makes her cry. Some of you may be wondering, okay, but why does Trisha have this big following? Like, she can't edit, her videos and her channel have no theme. Well, the answer as to where Trisha first got her following, of mostly women by the way, all comes back to her personality. Despite all the craziness and the trolling, Trisha just had a very charismatic quality to her. She was friendly and sweet, and her videos had a certain realness to them. She has this realness and this openness about her. For example, Trisha has always been very open about her past and sex work. Unlike certain other creators on this site, she doesn't glamorize that sort of sugar baby lifestyle. She tells it like it is, the good, the bad, and everything. Also, unlike other people on YouTube, Trisha does not separate her private and public life. She's an open book. Some people admire her for that, others view it in a car wreck kind of way, but either way, it garners attention. 2 of Trisha's biggest influences are Marilyn Monroe and Anna Nicole Smith. And Trisha really does have a lot in common with these women. Both of these women are symbols of glamour and opulence, and it's not all that hard to see that Trish uses her wealth as part of her image. But Marilyn and Anna Nicole were also both very lonely and sad people who have also become symbols of the kind of money doesn't buy happiness meme. And Trisha too, at her core, is sad and alone. Not many people go from selling their bodies for $5 to sold out tours, spots on Celebrity Big Brother, and over 1 billion views on YouTube. But what Trisha has always talked about wanting, it seems, is the one thing she will never have: a husband and children.
We're all looking for love, we all wanna be happy, but when we get rebuffed, it makes us all feel crappy. It's a game you can't win, even if you're a cute lesbian. It's still rough, but we all keep on looking for love.
Trisha wants love. She wants happiness so desperately, but it seems like every one of her relationships just ends with her crying on her kitchen floor. So why is this? Does she just pick bad partners? Is it self-sabotage? An early relationship, whom Trisha still sometimes refers to as the love of her life, was Anthony Michael Hall of Breakfast Club and 16 Candles fame. Hall enjoyed taking Trish to romantic dates to Chuck E. Cheese and pretended to be her father. No, really. He was also physically and emotionally abusive, apparently once pulling her out of the car by her arm with such force he tore open her breast implant incision. Ouch. Trisha also dated Broadway actor Roger Bart, best known as the singing voice of Hercules. Unfortunately for Trisha, she didn't realize that she was just one of many mistresses he had on the side and was not actually serious about their relationship at all. Trisha's first public relationship was with Sean Vanderwilt. In fact, her most popular video of all time, with a staggering 155 million views, features him. He broke Trisha's heart when she found out he was gay and hooking up with guys behind her back. Trisha's second most public relationship was with Jason Nash, a member of David Dobrik's vlog squad. Now, why a bunch of 10 and 12-year-olds are interested in the vlogs of a 50-year-old man, I have no idea, but that's his claim to fame. The relationship was described by Trisha as one of the worst experiences of her life. Surprise, surprise, much like Team 10, nothing that happens in the vlog squad is organic, and she couldn't stand the constant pressure to vlog and phony setup encounters. Trisha could not stand the members of the vlog squad and their constant stories of exploits with underage girls and non-stop sex jokes about then underage Tana Mojo. She was also frustrated that she was in a constant cycle of controversies while the vlog squad seemed to suffer no repercussions for their abuse of children and race-baited jokes. Trisha's mental illness, which was diagnosed by doctors as bipolar disorder in her youth, and more recently as borderline personality disorder, took a toll on her relationship. According to her, she would suddenly go crazy, as she put it, on Jason and begin screaming at him, throwing things, and rampaging through the house for no reason. She also began heavily using drugs again and uploaded some of her strangest videos to date, claiming in them, among other things, that she felt like a chicken nugget, was a Teletubby, and was being stalked by a benign and harmless vampire. At one point, Jason put a 5150 on her and she was confined to a mental hospital for several days. After many breakups and makeups, the couple finally called it quits for good. Her most recent relationship was with Moses, aka Water, aka Ela Klein's obnoxious and pretentious brother. And this one, well, it's a long and convoluted story. So it started when Ethan Klein did this segment called Instagram versus Reality. Really nothing revolutionary. Trisha was one of the people they focused on and, you know, they said some mean things. She responded as expected, and this started a sort of back and forth thing. Side note, can we talk about how stupid H3's defense of this was?
I think that video had actually a really powerful message for me personally, and I have heard other people too. If you look on Instagram today, a lot of people will look a certain way and you just take it for, you just think that's what they actually look like.
Right.
And then one day when he showed me all this stuff, I realized, whoa, like, wait, that's crazy.
Yeah. I'm really sure calling Tana Mojo of all people fat helped people's self-esteem. Give me a break. So anyway, this all cultivated in Trisha ending up on the podcast. It got good views, so they decided to do this little bachelorette game with her. Ethan and Ela wanted Ela's brother Moses to send in a video. He didn't. But then he DM'd her and they started dating. Whatever was really going on, it ended pretty quickly. Like, within a few weeks. Was he using her for views? Did he just want to hook up and she took it too seriously? Who knows? What we did at least get to learn is that Ela Klein's brother is a total weirdo.
This girl goes to him, "Water friend, I hope you are not going to sleep now." There's literally a video where he thinks he won't die, where he thinks he's water. He truly feels that he's born water. He's working on a project where he says the beginning of life is water.
She exposed him and now they're actually dating again. So what's going on there? I have no idea at this point. So as I said at the top of the video, Trisha is pretty controversial, and it would be impossible to cover every single one of her controversies, so I decided to just highlight a few of her more outrageous and notorious ones. The big one is, of course, the trans video. We'll get to that. Let's just cover some of the lesser ones first, comparably, you know. Nikocado Avocado has become kind of infamous in recent times, but back when this happened, he was just a little-known creator. He messaged Trisha wanting to collab with her, and she agreed, but ended up ghosting him. She said it was because she was scared of him, and everyone said she was a terrible person.
I'll have you know that Trisha invited him to collab. He flew all the way from Colombia, and she just ghosted him. So now that we know that she's not a good person.
Then, only a few short months later, pretty much the exact same thing happened between him and another YouTuber, Stephanie Sue, and everyone was on her side that time. So, go figure.
One of the biggest reasons I was even scared to make this video was because I knew that it looked stupid. Everything sounds dramatic. Oh, really? You were scared? Why did you stay? And there was nothing. Like, I felt like I don't know why. In any other situation, nobody ever needs a reason to feel scared or unsafe or uncomfortable, but I felt like I needed to have a reason.
Then, of course, there was the dissociative identity disorder thing. Oh boy, I sure do love these delicate topics that talking about Trisha Paytas forces me to cover. Earlier this year, YouTuber Anthony Padilla put out a video about dissociative identity disorder, which is a pretty controversial topic in and of itself. He interviewed several members of the DID community on YouTube, including Disassociative. Disassociated. Trisha then made a video inspired by this one where she said that she too has DID. Why did she do this? Did she just want to jump on a popular trend? Did she truly believe she had the disorder after seeing the video? More on that in a second. When she did this, both Anthony and Padilla and Dissociative retaliated, starting a firestorm of back and forth videos in a truly YouTube 2008 level of so-and-so pwned into oblivion, check my channel for proof, petty bullshit. In a surprising move, Ethan Klein actually took Trisha's side in the argument, which earned him some backlash.
Oh,
Yeah.
Claiming you have dissociative identity disorder is not a cool excuse to mock people in the community and call them crazy.
Who did you
I don't
mock?
think you mocked anyone.
Exactly. I wasn't. And in the video, I'm like, I'm not disrespecting anyone, anything. And then, look, did you see the next slide he did? Look.
Oh, how do I do that?
You know, right there.
Oh.
You can watch my video to learn it. Like, he's promoting his own fucking video right after it. Like, watch mine that I did about this to know what people who actually have it when they're talking about it.
That's
right.
I
think he's just a little too sensitive. He's just a little too much of a good guy. But Anthony, he said something annoying to me once where I was talking about, on your video, the one that I said Instagram reality, he made some really annoying comment about like, do you really think it's appropriate? Oh yeah, he goes, do you really think it's appropriate to talk about body shaming when you're claiming that someone looks like a beached whale? I was like, shh.
See, I hate people like this that just white knight
I was
everything.
like, yes, dude. I was like, yes, bro. It was funny.
Trisha would not drop this no matter how much her fans begged her to, going on to make several more videos on the topic, including a parody recreation of one of those switching caught on camera videos. Fortunately for her, while she was receiving all of these messages telling her she was worthless and she should KHS, her uncle, who she was very close to growing up, died. As you can imagine, that combination spun her even more into the spiral, and she made this incomprehensible video where she begged Dissociative to stop bullying her, even though she was no longer talking about her. But whatever. In this video, she linked to a video alleging that Dissociative was faking having DID. The video had no talking, and most people assumed this was an alt account of Trisha's, especially since Trish had stated that all of her identity's names began with a T. This, however, turned out to be someone else entirely. The next thing Trisha did was release several videos of her reviewing the same chicken sandwich in an attempt to convince people she was having amnesia between switches. And then she just dropped it. Just like that other thing. I really have to talk about this, don't I? I really have to talk about the time Trisha Paytas came out as a trans man. So, before I start this segment, I have a couple of things to say. First of all is, transphobes get out. We don't want to hear from you here. Y'all can leave now. Second is, I am not trans. I am not part of the trans community. So any observations I make on this topic are just based on me observing as an outsider, looking in, based on what trans friends or trans influencers have shared about their opinion or their experiences. So one day, Trisha Paytas, out of the fucking blue, makes this video where she comes out as trans. Her description of her gender dysphoria sounded a lot more like body dysmorphia, and this was something a lot of people picked up on. Once again, it seemed like Trisha was confusing one thing for another without doing any research and just running with it. She received more backlash for this video probably than any other video she has ever made, and that is really saying something.
I've always had penis envy.
Okay.
This sounds so crazy to say out loud, but like I've just always thought my life would be easier if I had that part. That if I asserted myself, I wouldn't be a bitch, but I would be like a man.
Okay. You're not trans just because you want male privilege. Male privilege can come with being a trans guy if you pass most to like all of the time, but it is not a reason to transition or a reason to think you're trans. Thinking that your life would be easier as male does not also mean that you are a guy. It bothers me so much, and it's really frustrating to hear because it's a very damaging thing, because it is the argument that trans exclusionary radical feminists use to discredit and invalidate trans men.
See, I feel bad. Like, I genuinely feel bad about reacting to this because I don't know anything about Trisha, and maybe Trisha's like a good actress or actor, or I don't know what to say. But to me, it seems genuine. I'm not saying genuine as in Trisha is actually trans, but genuine as in this is what Trisha is feeling right now. I think if Trisha was more educated on what it actually was to be trans, that would be a completely different thing and we wouldn't be having this video.
But while I had that on, no one said anything. I could just literally roll out of bed and just go. And I felt free and I felt happy.
Yes, men have it easier than women. No one's stopping you from cutting your hair. Cut your hair.
And I think it honestly is just a feeling. And I don't want people to like be offended. I don't want trans to be offended or gay or straight or whatever by thinking I'm mocking this or I'm confused. And
well, you are mocking this and you are confused. So up top, Trisha.
I know that's such a misconception that transgender people are confused.
Well, you're not transgender. It's your lucky day, and you are confused.
This is, of course, not to say Trisha had no trans supporters at all. Gigi Gorgeous, for example, made a video in support of Trisha.
And I firmly believe that when someone tells you who they are, what their label is, how they want to be identified, you have to believe that person. Trisha said, I am a transgender man, and that is exactly how I will view him.
Is that I believe that when it comes to both sexuality and gender, these are both very personal things. These are not things that we need to have a group decision on. These are not things that we need to be co-signed by more people than just us.
In the same way she did with DID. I don't think she's intentionally mocking these communities as much as she's actually trying to be a part of them by copying the behavior of others. Just like in her childhood, she is lonely and wants desperately to be a part of a group, but is never able to truly blend in and be accepted. So let's go back to that DID thing for a minute, because I really do have a point I want to make about this, and it goes deeper than, you know, Trisha bad. Trisha has mentioned before that doctors have diagnosed her with borderline personality disorder, but she herself does not believe this diagnosis. Something of a note, it is actually quite common for people with BPD, when they hear about dissociative identity disorder, to believe that they have it and relate to it. This is actually part of the reason the disorder is so controversial and why a lot of psychologists don't even believe it exists, but that's a whole other topic in and of itself. This whole incident just made me realize how hypocritical people on YouTube are when it comes to mental health, and by people I mean the viewers. That's right, you heard me. Oh, I'm a mental health advocate. Yes, queen, talk about your mental illness for my amusement. Oh my god, your symptoms are so #relatable. But the second anyone displays symptoms of a mental illness that are not in line with neurotypical polite society, suddenly they change their tune. I don't care what mental illness you have. I don't like the way you're acting and I demand you change it right now. Perfect example. Just a few weeks ago I was streaming here on YouTube and someone brought up Spoonie, the former Channel Awesome contributor, and how he was such a horrible person because of what he said on Twitter that one time. So yeah, if you don't know, Spoonie made a rather tasteless joke on Twitter around the time he got fired from Channel Awesome. And it turned out that during this time, he was actually having a bipolar episode, and the people who he tweeted at, who were his co-workers, have forgiven him, but of course the internet says, oh well, I don't care, don't use mental health as an excuse. Oh well, what, just because he is someone with a mental illness can just do whatever they want? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that they can just do whatever they want? Okay. First of all, when you have a bipolar episode, I've known people with bipolar, I've known people with schizophrenia, when they have these episodes, they are not, a lot of the times, aware of their surroundings or fully aware of their surroundings, and you're gonna hold them accountable for not even something they did, something that was, they typed something out on Twitter. Oh my God, unforgivable. Really? I think people are gonna be like, well, I have this or that, and I don't. Okay, that's great, but you know that mental illnesses do not affect people in the exact same ways all the time. Like, yours might not be the same as someone else's. So yeah, like, that's great for you, but we have to hold someone accountable for something they said during a bipolar episode for the rest of their life. We have to hold them accountable. Like, okay, that's it. They're a terrible person because of this thing they said that one time. Like, I don't even like doing that with people in general, because it's like people can change, or sometimes people make a mountain out of a molehill, and it's just like, I mean, okay. What about Eugenia Cooney? You guys remember a while back before the whole thing where the Shane Dawson, whatever, like, remember Eugenia Cooney? There was a lot of petitions online, like, we need to ban Eugenia Cooney because she's anorexic and she's really thin and that makes me uncomfortable. I mean, it's a bad influence on girls, and she's promoting this unhealthy lifestyle. Like, she's sick. Like, she has a mental illness. So we should ban her from YouTube because she has a mental illness. Because the way that she looks, because the way that that mental illness manifests itself physically makes you uncomfortable. That's the real reason. That's the real reason. She wasn't advocating for that lifestyle. She denied that she even had anorexia. She said that she ate normally. Like, she was not advocating for that. Just because she looked that way, it's just so ridiculous, right? Now, am I saying that anything is excusable if someone has a mental illness? Of course not. All I'm saying is try to have a little empathy. Try and actually understand why someone might be doing what they're doing. And don't claim to be a mental health advocate if you only advocate for the mental illnesses you find personally entertaining or interesting. Not that, I'm sure that not that anyone watching this are the same people who leave those comments. Just preaching to the choir yet again. So in conclusion, what my goal for this video was is to kind of track the history of Trisha Paytas a little bit, provide more like context for her, and to kind of, I don't want to just, you know, we're so used to just straight condemning people, right? And I've done it. I've never like wanted anyone canceled or anything, but I think that when it comes to people who are like, especially people who are like continuously really outrageous, like who continuously piss people off, I think that it's really interesting to kind of look in their history and look in their try at least to kind of look into their mind, look into their psychology, and figure out why they might be doing these things. Like maybe, you know, just for attention, or they're just a bad person or whatever, but I just find it really interesting to actually look a little bit deeper into these people. And if you guys like this video, I do have several other people that I want to do this kind of a video for. These kind of like what I call like, I don't know what to call it, deep dive. I call everything a fucking deep dive. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to do more videos like this. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. And tell me your opinion of Trisha Paytas down below. Do you love her? Do you hate her? Do you feel completely indifferent towards her? Let me know, and I will see you all in the next video.